to crowdfund just so that they can pay a ransom to release hostages. Now, for those of you who don't know the background to the story, a family was abducted in the Buhari area council. Do say precisely, 6 girls were abducted. One of them was killed, Nabiha. Really sad, unfortunate situation. Nigerians got on air now to say, look, let's burn on eggs, and people are donating monies. It's been controversial because some people, many other Nigerians do not believe that that's the way to go. If we begin to crowdfund for every abduction that is done, for everyone who's kidnapped, how many more crowdfundings would we do? How many more people are we going to crowdfund for? Wouldn't this just escalate the situation and even worsen the kidnapping situation in this country? Because if the kidnappers know that they can kidnap people and Nigerians would come around to donate monies for ransom, then it's going to even expand the already existing business, as we call it now, as many people know it now to be, the kidnap industry is what it seems. We'll be talking about this and more this morning. My guest is in the studio. My guest is Mr. Stephen Okori, who is a security and crime management consultant. He's going to be talking to us about this. Now, the major question I'm asking this morning is, what are your thoughts on, crowdfunding for ransom? By the way, a former minister, Issa Pantami, is one of those who has said, I spoke to my friend, and my friend, quote unquote, now has agreed to pay 50 million naira of the sum. So whatever else is, they should use that to cater for themselves and take care of their mental health and all of that stuff. He's come under fire for it. Point. How much more would Nigeria go away, or would we continue to feel it even by ourselves? Good morning, Mr. Okori. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm thinking where to start, but this situation of insecurity, it's been biting for over close to 2 decades now, and every now and then it morphs. Recall we had kidnapping in the south region, and then Boko Haram came, and then it moved into banditry. Now, what is it that has made it impossible to being abducted almost on a daily basis in different parts of this country? Ransom in the millions are being paid. Now, there's a lot of questions as to where all this cash is, to pay ransom. If the former minister of communications is saying that they're going to pay 50 naira ransom, where are they going to get it? Are they going to transfer it to somebody's account? And by the way, there's something fundamental he said when somebody asked him and said, look, you spearheaded NIN SIM registration and all of that. Why are we not using that? And he says it is the security operatives or the security agencies that are not using it. That 2 or 3 occasions where they used it, it worked. They were able to apprehend, the kidnappers or terrorists, as the case may be. So what is it? Where are we getting it wrong? As a consultant and analyst, what do you think the problem lies?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me once again.
Appreciate you coming.
I want to start by saying that I'm a doctoral candidate. My thesis on the very important knowledge that I can give out here, affecting the environment. From there, they discovered that they can go into kidnapping for ransom. They now started kidnapping oil workers, foreign workers. From there, they now went into kidnapping indigents. From there, it now entered the south. From the southeast, he went to west, came to the north, and that was how it escalated. So you said bandits, terrorists, Boko Harams, and the likes. They now left their primary constituency, or the reason that why they were practicing terrorism in Nigeria, and they saw that there was money to make a huge amount of money. Also, armed robbers have substituted or changed their means, from robbery into kidnapping, because formerly a lot of people travel on the highways with monies in their bags or in their pockets and the likes. But this time, because of technology, You can travel from one state to another state just with your ATM card. You can do your transaction.
Absolutely.
So armed robbers also now said, okay, since Nigerians no longer travel with cash, when we adopt them on the road, they will now go bring the money. It's so sad that we have found ourselves in this very pathetic situation. And there's a lot of reasons that it's that we can, point out at why we are looking at all this or why we are experiencing all this. For instance, within the FCT that you see kidnapping activities, you see that there's this rural-urban migration. People just carry luggage from areas, come to the urban centers, and they come unplanned, unprepared. They just carry their luggage and come. And the moment they see that things are becoming very difficult for them, they begin to see how to venture into such crime. And the worrisome part of it is that when you see these foot soldiers, and you just imagine the amount of money that they collect, you just know that there's somebody somewhere that is sponsoring them. You can't, because I was privileged to interview some kidnappers, the ones that the police arrested. And you hear where they collected like 30 million. At the end of the day, you hear that one of them was just giving like 200 or 300,000. So the bulk of the money, where does it go? So we have Nigerians that are resident in the cities, that are sponsoring these guys into this venture that they are lucrative. Now, I think that there's a lot that the government and the security agencies need to do. I'm not here to begin to teach them their job. They know what to do. There's failure of intelligence. When you ask me, our security agencies are reactive rather than being proactive. Nigerians are tired of security agencies and government giving excuses. A sovereign state, the duty of a sovereign state is to see that the lives of Nigerians are protected.
Absolutely.
How well are they protecting the lives of Nigerians? There's no money anywhere. You before you know, you see that the monies are being donated, and given to these people. How is it happening? In my thesis, I talked about the failure of the name SIM policy that was developed by the former Minister of Communication. It is not working. Most of these transactions happen via the victims' phones. How is it happening? Sometimes these kidnappers will video their victims. You find such video on the social media, and the videos will just be there. You can't trace the number. You can't track the number. That if they go there, it will lead to collateral damage. The victims it will affect the victims. Possibly they might die. But should that be an excuse for them to protect human beings, to protect Nigerians? Nigerians are tired of these excuses. If I tell you the last 1-2 years, how much has been paid for ransom between 2021 and 2022, about 650 million was paid as ransom in this country. Between 2022 July to June 2023, about 320 million was paid as ransom. The train attack, the Abuja train attack, do you know how much? Over 6 billion was raised.
Yeah, we hear that each of the abductors or abductees were paid 100 million.
Yes.
Paid 100 million to secure their release. Now, this is monies that is outside of the banking sectors, outside of the official financial sector in this country. In 2020 2023, the CBN moved to see that the cash was brought back into the banks and all of that. Many Nigerians kicked against it. Now we're still seeing a cash crunch. At that time it seemed like the cash crunch was occasioned by the redesign of the Naira notes, but till today there's still people cannot withdraw as much as they want when they go to their banks. The banks have a limit on how much you withdraw. Do you think that this is solving the problem or further exacerbating the problem? Because as it is, we're still going to see people. I mean, if the former minister said his friend is going to pay 50 million naira, they're going to either pay this money in cash or they're going to transfer this money. The easiest way that I've seen, speaking with and interacting with security agents and agencies across the world, is to follow the money. If you want to catch a criminal, just follow the money. The money trail takes you to where the criminal is. Are we saying that we don't have enough intelligence or on enough resources to be able to track these people, especially the sponsors who you rightly pointed out too, because these are the people who collect the big bulk.
Yes.
The foot soldiers, like you call them, get a tiny fraction of what it is that they make. At the end of the day, it shows you that there are people who are actually taking the bulk of the money. They also say that most of these monies is used, plowed back to fund terrorism and all of that. What do you make? How do you explain to us how this is?
If we are serious and committed to carrying out that tax, now these monies, the government even made it very difficult for citizens of this country. Why am I saying this? The National Assembly rather amended the Terrorism Prevention Act.
Absolutely, I was going to get there.
Ransom payment
was criminalized.
Exactly. Situation where a loved one is adopted or kidnapped, you are not in any way bound to pay ransom for the release of the person. So, why won't the National Assembly make laws that will see that this kidnapping activities don't even happen at all? So, in my own reasoning, I saw that the National Assembly decided to put the cart before the horse. Rather than put up preventive measures, let us see that, okay, there are laws. Let me tell you, even the laws trying to see how to, the process of the justice system now, a kidnapper is kidnapped, he is arrested, how long does it take for the court process to finish or get to a point where the suspect is sentenced to death or life imprisonment? We should be looking at that so that it will serve as deterrence to people that are intending to go into such a business. But right now, when you are kidnapped, you cannot even tell the police that you paid ransom at the end, because once you are given a report to the police that you were kidnapped, you dare not say in your report that you paid ransom. Because yes, if you say
really,
yes.
But we've seen situations where police officers negotiate ransom payments.
Yes, and they give an excuse for that. The excuse is that in the process of negotiating, they are trying to see how to clamp down on them, because they won't know that there are police officers that are negotiating on behalf of the victim. And he said, okay, in the process of why they go into negotiation again is because of the lives of the victims, so that they won't be killed, and also they try to see how to beat down the ransom, in the process of, they are trained negotiators. They try to beat down the ransom so that they won't make such huge amount of money to carry out the act of trying to see how to sponsor some other criminal activities they want to go into. So these are the reasons that they give. But the fact of the matter is, you can track this. How do you do that? If they find out anybody that is kidnapped and they are the families of the person are trying to pay ransom, the monies that most